and a school that was federally mandated to become more integrated. One accomplishment that was mentioned multiple times in that retirement gift book was the establishment of a community garden that provided both produce and seedlings to the families in the neighborhood. Can you see how perfectly that symbolizes who she was? She wasn't just teaching reading and math. She was literally and figuratively planting seeds, nurturing growth, and making sure everyone had what they needed to flourish. But I think if you ask my mom what she was proudest of, her answer would probably be the family she raised. She was a mother to us 4 boys, and for the last 47 years to my 2 stepsisters, Chris and Carol. And if I'm counting correctly, which I may not be, those 6 now grown grandchildren added another 9 great-grandchildren to Mom's list of people to look after. Then you add the number of friends who refer to her as Mama Ruth, people like my friend Karma, who lost her mother years ago, and Mom was a stand-in for a lot of those folks. Her capacity for love just kept expanding. Someone once asked her if she ever made a mistake in raising us. She initially laughed because she didn't realize they were actually being serious. And so her response was that she made mistakes all the time, but that if you used the information you had at the time you made the decision and you did that consistently, you'd have a lot more successes than you would failures. And then she added, remember that what works for one kid is not going to work for the other. It's all guesswork. I have to say, I think that approach worked out pretty well for our family. And that was vintage Mom, honest, humble, wise, and always acknowledging every person is different and deserves to be seen as an individual. Obviously, my mom was passionate about education, but in her free time, and certainly after retirement, she loved to dance, play golf, and travel the country camping with Harvey. When I was young, my parents would go to these dances once a month. Now, I have a great ability to remember bits of history that serve no useful purpose ever in my life, and this is one of them. She had this pale blue, pencil-pleated skirt that was part of a dress, and she had to have it shortened. And when they hemmed it, they cut off an 18-foot length of fabric around the bottom of the hem. And I only remember that because the cost was per inch on the alterations, and it was a lot of money. When she would wear that dress, I thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. And to this day, I still think so. After retirement, she and Harvey bought a series of campers and spent their summers traveling the country, visiting the national parks and also family because we were spread out all across the country. The first camper they owned was very tiny, I mean really tiny, like a Barbie doll type camper. And they were parked near the Grand Canyon one night, and it had been a long day and they'd gone to bed early. But they'd either left a window open or the top half, it was a Dutch door and the top half of the door, I can't remember those details, but they woke up in the morning with a horse staring at them in the face. Well, some people had come in overnight that had horses and tied them up, and the one horse got loose and decided to wake Mom and Harvey. They loved that adventure. It was unexpected and enjoyable, and they talked about it for a long time. Here's something else that might surprise many of you. My mom had a little secret that she hasn't told many people, but she wanted to go to art school when she was younger. And when you graduated high school in 1951, a good girl did not go to art school. And so she didn't. She went on to college and then left to marry my father. But on the last call that my Uncle David had with my mom, Uncle David's her little brother, who's 86, so maybe little brother, but he's aging as well, and that's why he couldn't be here. But during their last conversation, he said, I really want to tell you something, Ruth. He told her that he won the Halloween costume contest in their little town in New London, Ohio, 3 years in a row, and it was because of her. She made all of his costumes. He couldn't remember the third one, but the two winners were the Headless Horseman and a robot. Although she couldn't pursue her own artistic degree and skills, she never stopped creating magic for others. Now, I also need to talk to you about something important that Mom always said, and probably many of you heard it. Mom would often say that she had a wonderful childhood with parents who were loving and supportive, and my Grandpa Virg and Grandma Mary were just that. She said that her upbringing nurtured a lifetime of optimism and kindness in my mom, and that's been evident in the descriptions so many of you have used in your comments about her. She always looked at the glass as half full rather than half empty. But here's what makes that optimism so extraordinary. Life was not always easy for my mom. Although my parents had a very difficult divorce, she never spoke disparagingly of my father. She dated my first stepfather, Jim Maurer, for 2 years before finally getting married, and he died unexpectedly 4.5 months later. She was a caregiver for her parents in their later years. She beat stage 3 colon cancer shortly before my stepfather Harvey was diagnosed with mesothelioma lung cancer, and he passed away just a few months shy of their 30th wedding anniversary. Just in our time, just in our time here in St. Pete, she fell, shattered her femur, broke her pelvis in 2 places, broke her back, but she kept on going. And really, last spring when she had emergency surgery, that was her 14th major surgery in her lifetime. So when she fell, it made it difficult to do another one. But if you think about 14 major surgeries, the death of a spouse after 4 months, cancer, the loss of another beloved husband, through it all, she remained upbeat. Of course, she had her moments of sadness or despair. She was human after all. But really, up until the fall in October, she always dealt with the problems and pressed forward. I learned from watching her that your past doesn't define you or constrain you. She taught me that I can always learn from the experience, keep my head held high, and move forward. That's not a small lesson. That is everything. Mom had a profound impact on so many people she met along the way. Just think of the number of students she taught directly, or the number of students taught by all those student teachers that she supervised. Her impact multiplied exponentially. Seldom do we get to know the real impact we have on the world, but I can guarantee you, Mom's impact was pretty significant. We often overlook the small ways we create change in the world. It's a little drop of water here, a little drop of water there. But when you put a bucket underneath that faucet, all those drops start to add up, and they become bucket after bucket after bucket. And that was Mom's impact. Steady, consistent, accumulating into something immeasurable. In a few moments, some of you will have a chance to share how Mom impacted your lives. All of you are welcome to share that impact by writing a memory in the book in Gilmore Hall. It's over by the piano. If you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to email me your thoughts and they'll be included. I would love to collect all those drops of water. I want to talk about what comes next. I will miss my mom in so many ways. And if I let it happen, I could drown in the feeling of loss. But the reality is that my mom will always be here with me. She will be here with all of you. My mom had a little small picture of my stepfather Harvey that went everywhere with her. That picture got taken out of his suitcase in every hotel we stayed in. It was beside her bed at home. It went to the hospitals with her. And whenever she wanted to, she could talk to Harvey. She'd ask his advice, celebrate a milestone, brag about a child or grandchild. and I can do the exact same thing with her. Mom is gone physically, and that's a huge hit to my heart. I won't pretend otherwise. But her energy is always here with me. She taught me well, and she left me with a lifetime of wisdom. And when I need her, all I have to do is feel her energy and think about what she would do or what she would advise me to do. It's one of the things I told her as she was dying. I told her she did a great job in raising us and teaching us how to be human. She taught me how to be the positive change I need to be in this world, and I am eternally grateful for that. That's her legacy, not just in me, but in every person in this room and watching online. Every student she encouraged, every teacher she mentored, every family member she loved, every friend who called her Mama Ruth, every person who received vegetables or seedlings from that community garden, every child who saw her smile every day and knew they were safe and they were valued. Mom's glass was always half full, even when life tried to empty it. She kept filling it back up with love, with optimism, with compassion, and with service. Now it's our turn to carry that forward. When we face our own difficulties, and we all will, we can ask ourselves, what would Ruth do? She would acknowledge the pain, learn from it, keep her head held high, and carry forward. She would look for ways to help others. She would choose optimism, not because life was always easy, but because optimism itself makes life more bearable and makes us better people. Mom, thank you. Thank you for 92 years of showing us how to live with grace, resilience, and boundless love. Thank you for the pale blue dress and the dancing, for the camper adventures and the unexpected horses, for the Halloween costumes and the community gardens, for every smile you gave your students, and every piece of wisdom you shared with us. You did it right, Mom, you really did. And we promise to keep your energy alive in this world. We promise to be the positive change you taught us to be, and we promise to look at our glasses as half full. We promise to plant seeds and nurture growth wherever we can. Until we meet again, I'll carry you in my heart, just as you carried Harvey's picture. I'll talk to you when I need guidance. I'll feel your energy when I need strength. And I'll remember always that you taught me well. Thank you, everyone, for coming to today to help celebrate my mom. She loved this place. And I did pretty damn good for crying. Thank you so much.
Like you, I loved listening to Ruth, so this is her voice. Somewhere there's a girl who's like the shimmer of the wind upon the water. Somewhere there's a girl who's like the glimmer of the sunlight on the moss. Somewhere there's a girl who's like a swell of endless music. Somewhere she is singing and her song is meant for us, and her voice is sweet as angels sighing, and her voice its warm as summer sky. And that sound, it fills our dreams and spins us round until it seems we're flying. Her voice. We can sense her laughter in the ripple of the waves against the shoreline. We can see her smiling in the moonlight as it settles on the sand. We can feel her waiting just beyond the pale horizon, singing out a melody too lovely to withstand. And her voice, it's there as dusk is falling. And her voice, it's there as dawn steals by. Pure and bright, it's always near, all day, all night, and still we hear it calling. Her voice. Strange as a dream, real as the sea, since we can hear you now, you set us free, you set us free.
Hi, I'm Bill Motter, Ruth's third son. My great-grandmother, Dora Aycock, had a small 2x4-inch notebook with some of her favorite poems written in it that my mom kept. She had this poem, authored anonymously. However, it does seem to have been written by George Childs with an abridged version published in the book Leaves of Gold in 1948. And I just want to preface this with so many of you, really all of you, have shown exactly what this reading preaches us to do. My creed: do not keep the alabaster boxes of your love and tenderness sealed up until your friends are dead. Fill their lives with sweetness. Speak approving, cheering words while their ears can hear them, and while their hearts can be thrilled and made happier by them. The kinds of things you mean to say when they're gone, say before they go. The flowers you mean to send for their coffins, send to brighten and sweeten their homes before they leave them. If my friends have alabaster boxes laid away full of fragrant perfumes of sympathy and affection, which they intend to break over my dead body, I would rather they would bring them out in my weary and troubled hours and open them, that I may be refreshed and shared by them while I need them. I would rather have a plain coffin without a flower, a funeral without a eulogy, than a life without the sweetness of love and sympathy. Let us learn to anoint our friends beforehand. Post-mortem kindness does not cheer the troubled spirit. Flowers on the coffin cast no fragrance backward over life's weary way.
This is the time in the service that we can share our own memories of Ruth. And I'll take the microphone to you, and please hold it about as close as I am doing, like you're licking an ice cream cone. That's so that everyone can hear you here and online. As Janae mentioned, we would love to hear from everyone, but don't have the time for it. So if you feel I have rudely cut you off, don't blame the modders, blame me. Who would like to begin?
Hi, for those of you who don't know, my name is Mike, and I knew Ruth through this church, and I just wanted to share a couple years ago now. They had one service where different generations spoke, and Ruth, of course, was batting, cleanup, and she hit it out of the park. It was really something, and I got to know her a little bit more, but like John said, her light just shined through, and she just was always a pleasant, quiet force that you could have a chit chat with during coffee, and I'm, much love to the whole family. So thanks.
Again, for those who don't know me, I'm Cynthia Patterson, and I was blessed to have Ruth in my Sunday morning discussion group for the last 5 years. I've known several of our matriarchs, I call them, of this church. Barbara Rowell, who's gave us the very pretty stained glass window. Sally Wallace, who's probably online, and we miss you, Sally. She's here. Sally, you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I think the longest member of our church, yes? Yes. But Ruth, a year ago, we were reading about the ancestors. We were reading a book of indigenous wisdom in the Sunday morning group, and the homework was to bring a photo of how you think of your ancestors. And she sent me, she and John, these beautiful photographs of her family that we used that morning. And now she's with the ancestors. I will miss her dearly.
Hey, I'm Rebecca. I met Ruth on her first Sunday here when she discovered the Unitarian Universalists. And I really got to know her during COVID when we shared a swimming pool, but we each stayed on our own side so we could talk and get to know each other, but stay safe. She was wise and generous and kind. And my life is richer for having known her.
Hi, I'm Lucinda. I met Ruth 4 years ago, and I felt when I came in that she was the center of the church. She sat there, and everyone went to her. Every time, every Sunday, myself included, and we bonded over both being fifth grade teachers at one point, and I just remembered her beautiful presence, and I had said to Ben recently that I am a better person having known Ruth, and I feel very blessed that I got to have that opportunity.
Hi, my name is Jerry, and for quite a number of years, I worked in our office at St. Pete, and it was my pleasure to get to know a lot of people, but especially Ruth and her amazing family. It was such a pleasure to be able to just have people look at you and ask you about things and really mean what it was that they were offering you when they were trying to organize something or you were trying to work on something. But I especially loved, of course, our beautiful Ruth, and I think I will always remember the way that she handled everything for everybody. She was kind, she was loving, and she had a sense of humor. I can't tell you, I can't remember right now a particular one, but she really was a person who loved people, no matter what your age, for the kids that were there, as well as for us. And I'm very grateful still, and I will always be grateful that I had that opportunity to get to know people who love and help and always just don't think of themselves. They just are, and they make you a better person.
I guess I need to say something. All right. Okay. I know, I'll try. I didn't know Ruth very well except during our book group, and I'm a silent member because I'm on YouTube, and because I have to say I didn't get to hear much of John. This hearing problem really bothers me. But when I heard about all of her education and the schools that she taught, I knew she was a really, really smart person, but I did not know how smart she was until I got to know her better. And I will say I'm really, really proud of all she did, and you boys should be really proud of her too.
Hi, I'm Susan, and we've heard a lot about the things, the people that Ruth loved, but I want to mention her love for her little dog, Allie. I don't know how Allie is doing. Is Allie still with us?
She's still with us. She's struggling a little bit, but she's
Okay. But that little dog brought so much joy to Ruth in her last years, and just seeing the way she loved that dog touched me very much.
Hi, I'm Ruth's oldest stepdaughter. I feel more like a daughter. We loved her for 47 years. And one incident I'll never forget, my husband and I were out of town and we left this one with Mama Ruth. Well, she raised 4 boys. She said, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with her, but we'll figure it out. So when we got to the airport and we were coming down the escalator, I almost didn't recognize this one. I had made an appointment for Ruth to take her to get her hair cut. Ruth had 4 boys. The beautician had 3 boys. She insisted on getting her hair cut completely off. So it went from here to here. It was kind of cute, but I wasn't expecting that. Ruth just went, I didn't know what to tell her, the beautician and I. Her name was Sally, I believe. The beautician and I just didn't know what to do with her. We wanted her. We knew we shouldn't get cut it that short, but it was okay because it did grow out. And Ruth could hardly some days take care of her own hair. She even let my sister cut her hair one time. But she, remember that, John? Yeah, she didn't look so pretty the next day, did she? But we loved her dearly. When she came into my dad's life, she sat in my kitchen and she said, Carol, I want to marry your dad. He had already talked to my sister and I, and she said, I want you to know something. She was very good friends with my mom. Mama passed when Chris and I were both in our 20s, and she said, I want you to know I will never try to replace your mother, and that I carried with me all these years. And I loved that we ended up with 4 brothers. We had so much fun, and then we all scattered. But I'm glad that all of you got to know her and who she really was. And she did have a sense of humor, and she could not sing. She could not sing. Ask this one. So thank you all for coming, and John and Bill. We love you both.
I did. My name is Sandy, and I just wanted to say thank you to whatever part of the universe sent Ruth here to us, and also Bill and John, because she gave us great gifts as well when she gave us them.
We have time for a couple more.
Hi, my name is Ellen Scarcella, and I had to be here today because Ruth was such a huge presence in this church, and I've only been a member for a year and a half, but I could see, like someone else said, that everyone just gravitated towards her. And for me, personally, having been raised by my grandmother, I was missing that presence in my life. And one day I remember she was in her chair in that first bench, and I said, I have to go sit with Ruth. And we just sat there and chatted, and it was just a moment that I didn't even know I needed, but I'm very grateful that I had. And to the family, I'm very sorry for your loss, and I was just able to, grateful to be able to be here with y'all today. Thanks.
I'm Sandra, and I didn't know Ruth for very long. I've been on a lot of committees with John, and so Ruth was always there, and she was always this quiet presence, and her sense of humor. I remember one time we were going back and forth about something, and I heard her say something. I said, "What'd you say?" And she said, "That's just bullshit." But, her giving, I was honored to spend time with her in her last weeks. And she was giving to the end, I was able to, we went out when she was at Menorah Life, we went outside with her wheelchair, and she was able to enjoy the outside, I think it was the last time she was outside and enjoying it. And she rallied that week, and it was really so sweet, and it was so good to get to know her, and being in her presence just made you slow down and calm down and listen and just be. And she was just so accepting. And so loving. Thank you for the gift of your mother, John. Thank you for you.
Someone have their hand up here? No? Oh, it was.
Hi, I'm Danny. Some of you may know that when I first started attending UU St. Pete, I was a nervous wreck every time I walked through the doors. And I just remember it was like the second or third time I had come here. I was having a really rough time, and I was sitting on the bench right over there, and she just rolled right up, started asking me how I was doing, and then next thing I know, we're telling each other our life stories. And she really did have she brought out the best in people. You could see it. You could see it. That's why people would flock to her. You would walk away from a conversation with Ruth, and the world would feel brighter. I'm just forever thankful for her.
Thanks. Thank you.
I remember Ruth best. The day after Hurricane Milton, there was a photograph of her out in front of the church with everyone cleaning up. And I talked to her about it and told her how nice it was to see a friendly face after this bad hurricane. And she said, well, somebody's got to be the donut dolly and keep the troops happy. And that was her to a T. And last but not least, I would like to acknowledge the most superb, wonderful, and always imperfect care that she got from her loving family. It was indeed extraordinary, and I'm so glad that you both had the opportunity to do this.
Well, this will be our final.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So my name is Karma, and I grew up with Bill and John, and actually, Jim, and Rich. But I do remember great fun memories always at the Modders. We would go, on Knollwood. We would go swim in that creek, But the family was always, they took us all in. Like, we were always part of the family, anybody that ever showed up. And Ruth, like John said, I lost my mother a very long time ago. And Ruth has always been Mama Ruth. I don't think you're ever too old to have a mother, and she would reach out to anybody and everybody, and she did have a great sense of humor. And then I got welcomed in, meeting with Chris and Carol and their family, and so it's just extended, but I couldn't love her more, and Bill and John, for that family, great memories, and she was an incredible woman, and I appreciate all that she has given to me, because I used to call her on my way to work in the morning, on Monday mornings. That was kind of our time, and it was a very special time. So thank you.
You can remain seated, but if you would join us in singing this next song, it is in the paperback teal hymnal, and it is number 1064. And if you're in the front seats, there's some hymnals usually off to the sides of those seats as well. So 1064, it's called Blue Boat Home. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over
over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me. Hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
First, I want to say thank you for borrowing my mom, because what you shared about her was wonderful. It makes a son proud. I want to introduce my niece. Carrie went and got her master's degree in education because of my mom's influence. Carrie's daughter is Lexi Ruth because of my mom. The 23rd Psalm is something that my mom read to my grandmother as she was passing. And it's also what Carrie read to my stepfather as he was passing. So it plays fairly significant in our family.
My grandparents were my favorite people in the entire world. So for my grandmother, a reading from the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
You can remain seated again, but please join us in a spiritual reflection. It is your gray hardcover book, number 123. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. of life, come to me, come to me.
Ruth, you are celebrated in your graduation of life to the next chapter. In that chapter, it entails such a splendid view. She's here with us as energy does not get created nor destroyed, it simply transfers. And I thank you all for being here, both near and far, for those who had to tune in to later as well. On this day as we close, I offer these words by Dr. Andrew Usher. As we leave this place, we shall extinguish the flame and bid farewell to Ruth's physical body, but carry her spirit in our hearts. May it continue to shine through us now and always. And so let us pause together in the fellowship of quietness as we allow the wishes of our hearts to make themselves felt. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We can go next door in Gilmore, and there'll be some food and mingling and sharing of memories and thoughts. Thank you all for coming. It's unbelievably appreciated.